Hi, I'm Matthew, and this is Induction Hardware. In this video, I'll be going over all of the features and benefits of the Induction Hardware range hood series. Both of these are the 36-inch series. We have our black stainless and our stainless steel. The sizes that come in are 30-inch, 36, and 48 inches. The key differences between all three sizes, aside from obviously the width of the unit, would be the amount of motors and baffle filters inside of it. The 48-inch has two motors in there. The 36 and 30 has a single motor. The motors themselves are a DC motor, which is direct current. 95% of other range hoods on the market are an AC motor. The key difference between the two is the DC motor really calibrates how much energy is needed given the function that is being used currently in the range hood. Alternating current range hoods, with the transformers and the way they're designed, they just draw the same amount of energy consistently no matter what you're doing with it. So with DC motors, they're far more energy efficient. You can have far less power being used, but far greater output being gained from a DC motor. Also, the motors are much bigger, quieter, have a much more smoother function, and can have a bigger CFM, which is cubic feet per minute of air pulled out of your house. When you install these range hoods, or a contractor installs them for you, you'll be prompted with a menu, yes or no question, which will ask if your home is designated in an area that requires range hoods that go no larger than 400 CFM. It's a limit for makeup air, and some homes require that, especially if they're incredibly energy efficient. And it just depends on local codes. You'll know if you need that or not. If you're questioning that, just ask a contractor or look into your local ordinance. When you set this to 400 CFM, you still get a tremendous amount of power, and it's really the quietest range hood on the market. So at 400 CFM, even at its highest output, it'll be whisper quiet. You can have a full-blown conversation while this is at max speed without even realizing it's on. If you say no to the 400 CFM and you open up the full capacity of these range hoods, they range between 1500 to 1800 CFM. It really depends on the venting you have out of the house. They come with a 10-inch duct, but if that goes to an 8-inch or a 6-inch duct before it goes out of the house, that will bottleneck and that will reduce the CFM. So there's a lot of factors that go into that, these range hoods. But incredibly high output, very quiet and low energy draw for these types of range hoods. As you're cooking and your range hood is filtering out the grease and smoke, we've designed these really nice baffle filters that are really indicative of restaurant quality baffle filters. They're very heavy duty, and you can see there's a symmetrical design. There are these holes on both sides of them. So when these are installed, it'll basically filter the smoke and the grease. So the grease, as it condensates on these filters, will filter down into a custom baffle filter grease cup. So what's really nice is each filter has its own designated grease cup, which is something you don't really see with range hoods. There's either going to be a plastic cup that's mounted to the motor that doesn't really do much, or a thin channel that is the width of the entire unit and very small and not efficient and can tend to overflow fairly quickly. With these, each filter has its own grease cup, which is a high capacity grease cup. So minimal cleaning needs to be done depending on how often you cook, but very easy to clean. So very easy to pull out, very easy to clean. And both the baffle filters and the grease cups are dishwasher safe. So very easy to clean and keep clean. What's also nice about the way these are designed, we have magnetic strips in there. So when you drop the grease tray in, the magnetic strips are going to grab it, so it really is basically rattle resistant. So as you're using the highest power of this, there's going to be less components that can tend to rattle inside the unit. Now, some of the nice features about this, we have what's called holiday mode, which is if you go on vacation for, let's say, a week or 2 weeks, on holiday, even for a weekend, you set it on holiday mode and leave. And what it will do is every 12 hours, it'll cycle the air in your home for 15 minutes at a time on the lowest setting. So really what that does is exchange fresh air for the stale air inside. And so when you come back from vacation, your home won't be full of stuffy, stale air. It'll have been moving the whole time you've been gone, so you'll have fresh air inside your house when you return from vacation. A really nice, subtle feature. And it also draws the minimal amount of power for that. There's also an air exchange mode, which is basically the same thing, but If you aren't cooking, you just want fresh air, you hit the air exchange mode, and it'll allow fresh air in while pull stale air out while you're home. So another really nice feature for that. The touchscreen, you can control the different languages this has for your visibility. The lights are dimmable, so very easy user interface. Now what's really nice is the motor you have optimal control over, as well as the lights. You can dim them from 0 up to the max capacity, and they're incredibly bright, and the canopy lighting is designed in a way to really light up your cook surface.